right, we are going to be working with abbreviations today, and you have two different sheets that each have two boxes in them that we are going to all cut out separately. And when you're done, you should have 4 different boxes cut out. So go ahead and cut all 4 boxes out over the 2 sheets, all the way around the outside of the boxes. And then don't glue anything down yet. We're gonna kind of rearrange them so we can put them on as few of pages as possible here. Okay, so I've got 2 of them cut out, one like this and one like this. And then on the next page I have, and it doesn't matter which one you do first, states. There's another one, and then this last one on here. Okay, all right, so we have 4 different charts that we have cut out, not glued in yet. We are going to put the 2 skinny ones, so the states and then the months of the year, on the same page as each other. And we're going to put abbreviations as the title. And notice how I'm going to have to write my title kind of small up at the top so that my states chart doesn't cover it. And I'm going to glue the whole back side down. So go ahead and put these 2 on a page together. So the states, the really, really long and skinny and tiny text one, and then the months of the year one. And the days of the week. Okay, so then on the next page, we're going to have just one of the 2. So abbreviations is the title again. This one could be written normally. We're just going to have to put one of these next 2 charts on this page by itself. And then same thing with the last one. So we'll actually have 3 different pages that we're working with for this today. And then same thing up at the top of the next one. And glue it in. All right, we are all set. So luckily, the first 2, the states and the days of the week, months of the year, are all filled out for us. These are all ready to go. We don't have to fill out anything on these 2. But unfortunately, we have to fill out these abbreviations here. So I'm going to start filling them out. I'm going to start with the one that says postal terms up at the top. So it doesn't matter if you glue this in first or second on in your book. Make sure you flip to that chart. And I'm just going to fill out the different abbreviations for here. So apartment. A little bit. When we abbreviate the word apartment, we write A-P-T period. You can put all lowercase letters. Avenue, this would probably be capitalized when you're using it. A-V-E period. Next one, boulevard, would be capital B-L-V-D period. Court would be capital C-T period. Drive would be capital D-R period. Expressway would be capital E-X-P period. Highway would be capital H-W-Y period. Lane would be capital L-N period. Mountain or mount can be abbreviated the same, capital M-T period. Parkway would be capital P-K-W-Y period. Now post office, this one might be a new one for you, but once you see the abbreviation, it might make more sense. capital P period, capital O period. If any of you have a P.O. box as your mailbox, that's where that comes from, post office box. Private would be capital P.R. period. Road would be capital R.D. period. Rural route would be capital R period, capital R period. Street would be capital S.T. period. And suite would be capital S.T.E. period. So some of you might recognize some of these if you have addresses with one of these used or multiple of these used. Okay. All right. Next section. Go ahead and pause this right now if you need to finish up these post office or postal terms. And then we're going to move on to the next four, which are pretty easy. North would be capital N. South is capital S. East is capital E. And west is capital W. Think of your compass. Draw in our compass here. North, south, east, and west. Just like that. Okay, now, titles of people. We were kind of looking at these when we were looking at capitalizing the other day. So we're going to capitalize all of these just because when we use the abbreviations for them, we would use them in a capitalized form. So captain is capital C-A-P-T period. Colonel is how that's pronounced, even though it's not how it's spelled. Capital C-O-L period. Next one is corporal, capital C-P-L period. Doctor, you guys probably all know the abbreviation for this, capital D-R period. General, capital G-E-N period. Governor is capital G-O-V period. Junior, capital J-R period. Lieutenant, capital L-T period. Medical doctor is capital M period, capital, D with a D, period. Miss is capital M-S period. That'd be a woman who's not married yet. Mrs. is capital M-R-S period. Mr. capital M-R period. President is capital P-R-E-S period. Professor is capital P-R-O-F period. Registered nurse is capital R period, capital N period. Reverend is capital R-E-V period. Saint is capital S-T period. Senior is capital S-R period. Sergeant is capital S-G-T period. And vice president is V period, or capital V period, capital P period. All right, go ahead and pause these if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the measurements. These you probably know a little bit better just working with them in math. And a lot of these aren't capitalized, so that'll be nice. I'm going to add a few in here not on this list on the side also, so just write kind of close to the original term up here. So centimeter, C-M, lowercase c, lowercase m. Dozen, lowercase d-o-z, period. Foot would be F-T, period. Gallon is G-A-L, period. Horsepower is H-P, period. Inch, I-N, period. Kilometer, K-M. Or kilogram is kg. These don't have periods. A lot of the metric measurements do not have periods. Meter, it's just M. Mile, lowercase I, or mi, period. Miles per hour, mph. Milligram is mg. Millimeter is mm. Number would be no, period. Ounce is OZ, period. Pint is PT, period. Pound, you guys have probably seen this one before. This one's a lot different than what you see in the word. LB, period. Quart is QT, period. Square is SQ, period. Volume is VOL, period. And yard is YD, period. Now I have a few that I'm going to add on. Comes to baking. These are very, very important. So we have teaspoon, TSP. You might see it capitalized, but a lot of times it's lowercase, but it means the same thing. Tablespoon, TBSP. The difference between these two is a huge amount. If you are a baker or a cook and you know the difference between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, some recipes call for salt. You'd probably rather have a teaspoon of it than a tablespoon of it in some cookies or whatever. The only difference is that B in there. So the B is not the easiest to see sometimes. So you really need to make sure tablespoon versus teaspoon. And then cup is just C. All right, pause this here if you need to. We're going to move on to the next one. Business terms, time, and other. Association is ASSOC period. Company is CO period. Corporation is CORP period. Department is DEPT period. Incorporated, kind of like Monsters Incorporated, Monsters Inc. Limited is LTD, capital LTD period. United Nations is U, or capital U period, capital N period. And then Justice of Peace, which would be a judge, capital J period, capital P period. Time, hour is lowercase hr period. Minute, MIN period. Second is SEC period. Antemeridium and postmeridium. You probably don't know them by those terms, but you know them by AM and PM. A lot of the times you will see these two abbreviations abbreviated in so many different ways. The correct way is capital A period, capital M period, capital P period, capital M period. You'll see them AM and PM. You'll see them AM and PM. Not right. Okay, now the next two, National Public Radio is capital N period, capital P period, capital R period. That's a lot of talk radio. Maybe your grandparents or parents listen to it. And then etc. is ETC period. All right, I'm going to pause there. If you need to pause the video to catch up, go ahead. Otherwise, you have an assignment, which is the Shorten It sheet. You have a few on here that you're filling out, and you're just going to write the abbreviation right next to it. Okay, I'm not going to do the review work or the draft book down at the bottom, so you're just going to fill these out, turn it in on your next in-person day. Thank you.